Hello, it's Father Rich coming to you from the dining room in the rectory. We've made our way through quite a few of the walls, but haven't talked about this cross and crucifix. It's interesting because, and it was here when I got here, but it has Jesus clothed with two garments that reinforce his identity. One of them is a chasuble that we'd see a priest wear. We talk about Jesus being the eternal high priest and fulfilling that role of anointed ones in the Old Testament of the high priest as he wears the garments for Mass, so to speak. And then the crown that's on his head, reinforcing Jesus Christ, the King. Remember the last Sunday in Ordinary Time every year, coming up at the end of November, that we celebrate Jesus Christ as King, that even on the cross we're able to see him as the priest offering his life for us and as the King kind of conquering sin and death in this moment. And it's not unlike a posture that I want to show you of another person that this is from the internet. I'm just going to show you on my phone. And it could be the only picture that we've seen of an actual martyr. See how he has his arms out in the similar position that Jesus does on the cross? There's almost that cross figure behind him. This is Blessed Miguel Pro, Augustine Pro from Mexico. And he's the start of this essay is about him being taken prisoner, dressed, as you could see in that picture, in civil attire, so to speak. And he was not vested, he was a priest. But because he was in hiding and doing things underground, he couldn't wear the collar, the cassock, and the normal garb of the priests. So this is in 1926 in Mexico, when the atheist government tried to uproot and basically exterminate Catholicism in Mexico, feeding off of the similar kind of communist movement in Europe and the Enlightenment of France, all these different places where we see these ideologies, seeing religion as being this oppressive limit to human freedom and life, and trying to rid the world of that. So I actually had a chance to go to Mexico City and visit the tomb of Blessed Miguel Pro. Very moving because I didn't know much about him before then. That was back in 2006. I've grown in my appreciation for him. He would actually go out into the town square and hear people's confessions in different disguises. But eventually that caught up to him. There's actually a movie that came out about probably 5-6 years ago called To the Greater Glory. And it some actually well-known actors like Andy Garcia and one of the actresses from Desperate Housewives, I forget her name, but that told the story about this persecution of the Catholic Church by the Mexican government. And for about 10 to 15 year period in the 20s and early 30s. And that we actually have several saints from that era, obviously beatified. At time, though, we know the Catholic roots of Mexico, in which the government was trying to rid them of that. So I encourage you to check out that movie if you haven't seen it. And their mantra, going back to the other piece that Jesus has on here, the crown, was Viva Cristo Rey, long live Christ the King. That's what, as Blessed Miguel Pro was about to be shot in that picture I just showed you, and he was holding his rosary in one hand, that was what he yelled. That was the battle cry of the Cristeros, the soldiers for Christ, as they call themselves, that were trying to fight against the atheistic government and its army, and trying to preserve Catholicism. Again, their laws had put major limits on the Catholic faith, on the activity of priests. There was a limit on how many priests there could be, and on their preaching. They would monitor what they could say. It just was significant. And they obviously, again, persevered. They didn't win the battle in that time, but eventually those governments lost control. And we know that Catholicism continues to be a significant part of the people of Mexico, their culture. And actually one of the things we see and bringing bringing some renewal of the church in our country of the United States is the immigration from Latin America and Mexico. Great devotion, Our Lady of Guadalupe, we see in many of their homes and in their workplaces even, because of the significance of Mary as Our Lady of Guadalupe bringing the faith to the people of Mexico and Central America. So, so again, another group similar to yesterday, the group that we talked about in France, which I'm already forgetting, the Vendée, groups that did not just take these oppressive, violent, atheistic regimes trying to get rid of the church. They didn't take that lying down, but stood up to it and were even willing to die for it. So it's really important to know about this history and the ways that our world has tried to suppress Christianity and our Catholicism, and that spirit that has not allowed that to happen, in perseverance, even in the midst of the face of martyrdom. One of the young boys that was like 12 years old that was martyred in this fight was beatified a few years ago, and is shown in the movie that I mentioned. Saint Christopher Maganius was a priest played by Christopher Plummer maybe or somebody in that movie as well. So they've given us again a legacy to stand up for what's right, for our faith, and hopefully we can join them in saying, "Long live Christ the King," and we can continue the ministry of Jesus as King and priest as we give our lives and sacrifice and the crosses that our daily life brings. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. God bless.